I'm Dragon's Den.
Hi, Dragons.
Hey there, Dragons.
Oh,
My name is Radek,
I'm Jordan. And I'm Todd.
and our application is called... Oh,
That's not right. Here we go. Yeah, there we go.
our application is called REACH,
Yeah, so REACH stands for Respite,
Empowerment and...
Community Health.
That's crazy.
So with REACH, our mission statement is to connect those people who may need help with those that can help. And to dig into a little bit why we did this, why we started this, I'm just going to talk about some of the reasons.
All right, so in Canada, there's 555,000 caregivers that provide help to others, and a lot of the research shows that the majority of those are actually family members, which makes sense because a lot of it is due to lack of access of funding.
This particular problem really becomes in effect as soon as youth transition into adulthood, where a lot of those programs provided to youth are no longer accessible. At that point, the burden to provide care and assistance for those people with disabilities is the problem of the family members.
So yeah, this is a wide-scale problem in Canada that we've noticed, and that has been going on for quite some time. That is well documented in research. But what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the area in Calgary, Alberta to start, and go on from there. So as Jordan mentioned, there's over 500,000 people that suffer as people who need respite, or that people that have caregiver burden, but that doesn't include all the people that actually need caregiving. In the States, it's over $1 billion cost for people, as some of what Rad mentioned, and that's people missing work and the fees associated, especially with some stuff going on with mental health that come into it, which we also have in the research too. In the papers that we gave you, you can check out more details, but those are some of the problems that we've seen.
So our solution to this problem is creating an application or a platform that's funded by stakeholders, government, as well as providing services from volunteers and healthcare providers to allow access at an affordable cost and with ease.
Yeah, so the application, we'll get into kind of how it works. It's basically downloadable on any app store that anyone can access, and it's free. We will be running some advertisements on it to help support the therapists who will be doing some of the paid services, which we can get into. But basically all it is someone who needs support or needs help will go onto the app, they'll select the support they need, and then it gets allocated to either the therapist or the volunteer personnel that can fill that need.
I love the idea. I think you're on. I think you're on to something.
Dude,
I'm all for it if they can make a buck.
I don't know.
So when people think disability, they often think of face value things, clear disability, clear physical disability. This app reaches out beyond that, and we also want to have the opportunity to provide these services to people like older adults who might require some assistance in independent living. So it's not just the population with maybe physical or learning disabilities. It's also other people in our community that just require some assistance as far as some of those activities, daily living.
Yeah, I mean, adults with dementia. The aging population, the baby boomers it's growing, and we need those support systems for them as well. But even right down to young children, the caregiver burden for a parent treating or sort of working with their children, it's a 24-hour duty task, and that's mentally exhausting. And if we can provide some respite care for them, it's super beneficial. So.
All right, so for example, a client with cerebral palsy with some difficulty getting around might need help with transportation getting to the grocery store. So that's one of the areas that our service could help, is that it will help pair them with somebody who is able to provide that transportation to actually get them in around town.
Yeah, so how that would work is that individual would log on to the app or the website, or a family member can do it for them. they can select the service that they're looking to do. So get around town, grocery shop, have something done around the house, and then from there it will populate the app, and any of the volunteers in the area, say there's a volunteer that is going to the grocery store already, the app will send them a push notification saying so-and-so needs help, and then anyone in that area can pick up that service. So,
in the case that the service is maybe of higher complexity, so for example, maybe providing treatment, for example, something like edema control or soft tissue mobilization, those providers with that scope will only be receiving the notification for assistance. At that point, you might have a physiotherapist that receives that notification, a massage therapist, or a chiropractor that are qualified to do, for example, soft tissue mobilization or edema control.
All right, so for a client to access these services, as was mentioned before, they just log into the app either through Apple or Android, and they will need to register. So fill in their contact information and specify which services they'll actually need assistance with. From there, all that information is actually end-to-end encrypted to our electronic health record that's built into the app. That will information will only go on an as-need basis to the therapist that might require that information. And it's not shared with anybody else who might not be involved in the care or go to a care provider that not need that specific information.
yeah, so the complexity of the case will be based on the therapist, and therapists, depending on the level of what they have access to, will just ensure client confidentiality.
The way that therapists get involved into this whole thing is by registering with the application. As if, for example, a physiotherapist, you'll have to provide your practice or license number, as well as the certificates associated with attainment of your degree and qualifications. From that, we're actually able to figure out which services you will be able to perform. So, for example, those with just a basic physical therapy degree and certification will be able to do some of those activities within the scope. But if you have, for example, a qualification with spine manipulation, you actually might be able to do those more restricted activities as well.
Yeah, so pretty much covers that and how people can get involved. We recognize that it is an increasing concern for low-income families or people who can't access these services already. The whole point to our program is that it is for people that need the financial assistance, so that's why it is going to be supplemented or volunteer-based, and it's to provide those people that need the help to get the help because they can't financially afford it. Yeah.
The unique opportunity that this app provides is actually a lot of not only a reduced cost of therapy, but also the opportunity to have free therapy as well. So we require therapists to perform some pro bono work in exchange for this referral to clients and these paid opportunities. But this also kind of minimizes or lessens the cost of our members to not only participate in the application, but also get therapy or treatment or service provided for minimal cost.
So let's talk about how therapists get paid and how these services get provided in that respect.
So what happens is we take typical treatment, for instance, for physical therapy that is provided by Alberta Health Services, and we take that cost, and that is going to be the amount of money that's going to be paid out to the therapist. So similarly for chiropractics, massage therapists, or exercise therapists, things like that, same idea. Where that money comes from is partially from our patients or the clients, which is a very small fee relative to the amount of subsidization that we're going to be requiring, or that is required from Alberta Health Services, as well as some of our community stakeholders. There's a lot of incentive for members of our community to participate in this and help fund our app. And maybe Todd can elaborate a little bit about that.
Yeah, just as businesses have a community service requirement, maybe colleges do as well, some colleges. and then maybe we can get on board, and what we're going to try to do is get on board with some colleges and professional programs and try to implement something like this. It has been talked about in some of our mental health stuff that we've been going through, but also just to elaborate on the subsidization. When patients apply, through that application process will also be an income, mandatory income requirement that they provide that information, which will give us an idea of how much they get subsidized. So it will be more cost effective. Some people who fall below a certain income threshold will obviously get free treatment. So we understand that there's all kinds of challenges that we're going to face with this, and there's a bunch of hurdles that we've got to get over. Maybe Jordan can touch on some of them.
Yeah, one of the major ones is that we do understand that there is going to be a fraction of the potential clients and caregivers that we hope to reach out to that might not actually have access to a smart device in order to access the app. And that's something that we are actively working towards to help resolve, to have another way of accessing these services.
Another barrier that we're concerned for some of our clients or patients is definitely their safety. If someone is going to come and assist you, you certainly want them to be someone that is safe, and make sure that the patient's feeling safe. And the way we do that is that every volunteer definitely has to pass a criminal record check, so they are screened for that, to be working with vulnerable populations. And then a requirement of any therapist is, and part of their certification as far as their colleges, is that criminal record check as well. So in that sense, we do guarantee that these people are fit to participate in working with vulnerable populations.
Yeah, and then people have some autonomy in their decisions as well. So as therapists or volunteers work with these patients, the patients will have an opportunity to leave feedback just like any major app or forum right now. And those feedbacks will have ratings, and next time the patient needs help, if they have 5 people that volunteer to help them, they can pick the one they like best.
Yeah, so lastly, another barrier would be equipment. So because of the therapists working with our service will be independent contractors, the therapists will have to be able to have their own equipment related to their scope of practice in order to be working with these clients, such as a foldable table, goniometer, or any other tools that they might need for a given patient.
We are all physical therapy students, and we believe that we have a unique insight into this disparity that is going on, just because our role and our knowledge and involvement in things like musculoskeletal injuries, joint and ligament problems, and
as well as certain areas such as mental and community health in and around the province of Alberta.
In addition to that, we also have a pretty extensive understanding of our healthcare system here, as well as some of the gaps that need to be filled. And we find that this would be a really unique opportunity for us as physiotherapy students with our education to be able to fill these specific gaps and provide services to those that need them.
we're not really asking a lot. We want to get the word out there, and that's the whole idea, is by spreading this. So by getting involved with U Dragons, it's going to be a good opportunity to use your big business knowledge to help us with this, help us get it out there, develop the apps. But we're asking for $10,000, and that is to develop our app base, our secure network, and our website, and then just some advertising help to start this program.
Because we want to make sure that both the therapists and volunteers know about it so that they can help provide their services, but also make sure that the caregivers and clients are aware of the service as well.
I actually would like to make you an offer. Okay?
Please.
I'll give you exactly what you want. My mind is going a million miles an hour right now about all the things we can do with this. I know exactly the people we should partner with on this. I absolutely want to be your partner, so I will give you exactly what you want.
That is for sure.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
Congrats. Really good pitch.
Yeah,
Enjoyed that.
fantastic. Nobody's come out here, my friend, with just a cardboard sign and got that much money. So